Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Welcome to 2025.
We're in 2025.
2025. New year.
New me.
I'm Jordan.
My name's Kate.
This is Kate. We're not only kicking off a brand new series tonight, we're kicking off a brand new year, 2025. Kate, you got any big goals for 2025?
I think my biggest goal, I just told Jordan that it was to eat a Big Mac every single day. But that was really the first thing that came to mind. I haven't done my goals yet, honestly.
Well, it's 2025, so you're behind. You need to get on that.
I know. I should have done this last month.
Set some goals for yourself, kids. 2025, let's talk slang. What's staying? What's going? What are we saying bye to in 2025?
I think it's time to say bye to Riz Master. That needs to go.
Riz Master.
Yeah.
Or just Riz in general.
I think Riz can have a few more months. I think Riz Master Heart, I think that should stay in 2024.
Okay.
What do you think is coming?
I think Cherry's coming. It's been on the up and up for a little while. I think 2025 is going to be its year. It just means cool.
You invented that, didn't you?
I did invent that.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting and believing.
He's been working on this slang word for about 4 years now.
For it to catch on.
And it hasn't yet.
All right. Enough of that. Hope you're excited to be in 2025. We're excited to be bringing you a brand new series tonight. And we thought really long and hard on this one, and we're titling it Go.
Go.
Go. 3 times in the Bible, it is recorded that Jesus told someone to go. And go simply means start doing something. Move. Activation. Do some work. Get your body moving. Is there a better time to talk about this than 2025? This is when people are trying to go.
Time to go.
New plans, workout routines, diets, goals, all the things. And tonight we're just going to look at an area of scripture where Jesus tells a story to teach a lesson, and he tells the people to go. You want to read our story for tonight?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we will be in Luke tonight, chapter 10, starting in verse 30. It says, Jesus replied with a story. A Jesus man was traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he was attacked by bandits. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him up, and left him half dead beside the road. By chance, a priest came along, but when he saw the man lying there, he crossed to the other side of the road and passed him by. A temple assistant walked over and looked at him lying there, but he also passed by on the other side. Then a despised Samaritan came along, and when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. Going over to him, the Samaritan soothed his wounds with olive oil and wine and bandaged them. Then he put the man on his donkey and took him to an inn, where he took care of him. The next day he handed the innkeeper 2 silver coins, telling him, "Take care of this man. If his bill runs higher than this, I'll pay you the next time that I'm here." Now, which of these 3 would you say was a neighbor to the man who was attacked by bandits? Jesus asked. The man replied, "The one who showed him mercy." Then Jesus said, "Yes, now go and do the same."
Classic Bible story right here.
Yeah, it's good.
The Good Samaritan. Maybe you have heard of someone being called a Good Samaritan before and didn't even know that was from the Bible. That's from the Bible. That's a Jesus story right there. Kate, there's a lot that's happening here. What are some of just your quick observations about the story of the Good Samaritan?
Yeah, I think the first thing that stands out to me is that the man who was the neighbor, the man that continued to take care of him, didn't just stop at one thing. Mm-hmm. Like, how often are we like, okay, yeah, here's a Band-Aid, and then we go on with our life. I love that he gave him olive oil to soothe his wounds. Then he bandaged them. Then he gave him his donkey. Mm-hmm. He paid for his stay, made sure he had a spot to stay, and continued on to make sure that he was set all the way through. Yeah. He went above and beyond. And I just think that's, if I had to pick one thing, that's probably the most convicting.
That's great. Yeah, I was reading through this story, and then I was reminded of there is legitimately a law called the Good Samaritan Law. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. You should look up the Good Samaritan Law if you don't know about it. I'm not going to read any specific legal stuff or anything, but essentially the Good Samaritan Law is that when you're a civilian and you see a stranger or someone who's in desperate need, is ill, is physically in pain, or is going through a rough time, you are able to help them through like physical assistance, CPR, medical attention, calling the police, etc., without fear of like getting punished or, like causing any issues on the back side of that. Like there's not going to be any consequences or ramifications for wanting to do the right thing and help somebody out, even if you have no idea who that person is. And I just think that's so cool that we understand culturally the significance of a story that Jesus was telling, so much so that we've like enacted it into law in many different states around the country, which is pretty cool. And the thing that I'm thinking about as we look through this story is the idea of always being on the lookout. That is such a cool concept to me. Typically, and I'm guilty of this as well, we can look at people in need. I think of people who are begging for money, people who don't have the things that we have. And usually it's, oh man, that's too bad. Like, well, that's their problem to worry about. That's not my response. Like, why would it be my responsibility to solve their problems, right? I'm guilty of thinking that way, but the Good Samaritan story really flips the script on that. And so I just want to ask the question tonight for you and people watching and listening to pay attention to is like, who around me is in need? When your eyes are opened up to looking for people in need, all of a sudden, you are going to see a bunch of things that you didn't see originally. People being bullied, people who are lonely, people who are isolated, lost, they're confused, they're broken, they're hurting. They're all around us. And so tonight, we just want to talk really practically about how to identify who in my life is in need. And then we just want to give you 3 simple steps for what it looks like for you in 2025, starting the year out strong. To be a good Samaritan. So let's just talk practical for a second. Number 1, you prepare to be a good Samaritan. It doesn't just happen to you one day. You got to prepare for it. So we say number 1 is prepare and be ready. We say this all the time in our squad.
If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready.
You don't got to get ready. People are like, I got to get ready for that. I'm like, bro, if you stay ready for it, you don't got to get ready for it. Sometimes you don't have time to get ready.
That's right.
So you just got to be ready. You stay ready. And what's crazy to me as I look at the story is like the Samaritan was ready.
Yeah.
How'd he have all that stuff with him? I don't know. He had bandages. He had olive oil. He had a donkey. Like he had all these things, these resources, these skills, these abilities, and then opportunity hit him. And he wasn't like, oh, shoot, let me come back. Wait, hold on, let me get ready. He was ready.
Yeah.
And then he was able to act on it. And I think of so many times, like, it's an inconvenience or an interruption many times when we have an opportunity to help somebody and we usually don't have time to get ready.
Yeah.
So if we stay ready, you can seize the moment and the opportunity.
Right.
What are you thinking about like compared to, or connected to this? Like how do we be prepared and ready?
Yeah. Honestly, super basic answer, but it's to get prayed up. I often can get in my own world, in my own thoughts. And honestly, even in my prayer life, I find myself praying for myself a lot, which is great. But I often neglect to pray for other people. Now, as I've been learning how to pray for other people, I've noticed that God has given me the eyes to see needs around me and the heart to be ready for that. And I think when we are prayed up and we've prayed for our school, we've prayed for our friends, we've prayed for our coworkers, our family, that begins to soften our heart. But it also gives us awareness in the moment that when someone does get placed in front of us, we're like, oh, wait, I literally just prayed for this opportunity. I just prayed for my coworker, and now she just came to me and asked for advice. Like I was ready because I was praying about it yesterday or the week before or the months before.
That's beautiful. And you have something on here that's like, don't wait to be asked to do this. Like, just the need and go.
Yeah.
A lot of times we like want to fill in. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? How am I going to act? It's like the need, go.
Yeah.
No one's got to give you permission to enact the Good Samaritan law.
Yeah.
You know, be like, hey, am I allowed to help this guy? You know, it's like, no, the permission is there's a guy bleeding out on the street right now in the story of the Good Samaritan. That's all the permission that you need to insert yourself into the story there. Number 2 is to notice and then to have compassion. When I see someone in need, it's almost like I can think back on it and I can know there's going to be a moment where I can look at the situation and either turn away. I don't want to see that. Or I can take a few seconds and have compassion.
Yeah.
That's like a subtle little change right there. I see a person who does not have a home begging for money. I can either look the other way and act like I didn't see it, or I can sit a little bit more in that moment and my heart can be broken and I can have compassion for them.
Yeah.
The despised Samaritan, like this is the whole point of the story is like people didn't like Samaritan people. So the people that everyone thinks the bad guy actually becomes the good guy. He sees him and he has compassion on him. They all saw the guy laying there, but he's the only one that actually noticed, looked long enough to have compassion. And compassion is the thing that moves me to help. Mm-hmm. Just knowing that there's a guy laying on the side of the road doesn't usually move me to help. Yeah. It's when I take a little bit more time to have my heart broken for it. So why is having compassion and being present with others so hard for us? Because just let's be honest, it's very hard. And how have you personally experienced the benefits of it?
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that ruins and can wreck compassion is just like the hurry of life or some selfishness, or I know I get really selfish with my time and my energy. And when God places a person who is in need in front of me, the first thing that comes to mind is like, I don't have time to sit down and listen to them. I don't have the money to buy them coffee. I don't have, and all the excuses in the world come up. And even in this story, like they're on a very dangerous road, and he had every reason to keep moving and to get out of there, but he stopped and he stayed. And so I think that's the number one thing that can stop us from that. I would also just encourage you, as we're talking about compassion, just to ask yourself, what breaks my heart? Yeah. I know that what breaks my heart the most is people who maybe know Jesus, they're believers, and they aren't really experiencing the fullness of knowing Jesus, and they haven't experienced his goodness. That's like the number one thing that really gets me. And when I've better understood myself to know that's how God wired me, now when someone walks into my life, I'm like, okay, that person's for me. Like God placed him right there for me. And that just goes back to not waiting until you're asked. Like, I don't need to wait for, whoever it is to be like, hey, Kay, I need your help in this. I just know that when God places them in my life, like that's my mission.
That's it. Yeah. Love it. Number 3 is, so first we stay ready. We're prepared. Second, we notice and have compassion. And third is, you got to go respond, take action. So many moments in my life, I have seen a need, maybe have even had my heart broken for it. Yeah. But the final step is you gotta go. Respond. Do something. What good does it do me to see a guy laying on the side of the street, bleeding out? Yeah. Oh man, I feel so bad for him. And walk away. Yeah. I've totally missed it here. Yeah. And I think a lot of times for students, we can like almost get there. We see it, our heart breaks for it, but that's not quite it. Yeah. The response is so important. We usually miss this because we're not only thinking about ourselves, but we don't quite know what to do, or we're fearful that we're going to do something and it's going to be like the wrong thing. And I don't think there could have been a whole lot that could have been wrong for the Samaritan to do here. It couldn't get much worse than the position that this guy was in right here. Anything was going to be an upgrade. So tell us practically what stops us from taking action, and then what can we do to flip that on its head, to overcome that, and to go? Yeah.
I mean, there's a list of things. I think a lot of it, for me, and I know many of you have probably felt this, is just the insecurity of not feeling equipped. Like, I know enough. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to say. Is it going to be awkward? Yeah. I think when I was in high school, I just didn't think it was my job. Like, I never had somebody to say like, hey, Kate, on your soccer team, that's your mission field. Yep. And honestly, there's a lot of regret that I feel to this day, that I'm like, man, I was surrounded by a ton of teenagers and I never shared my faith. And so I want to encourage you guys. You're around hundreds and hundreds of teenagers every single day. And I just want to encourage you, like, just go take action and show compassion to the people you're around. I was just watching Moana 2 last night. And I'm not really a Moana fan.
I haven't seen it.
And honestly, Moana 2 is probably like a 4 out of 10 for me. Sorry if you loved it. But there were some things that really stood out to me as we're talking about this, because she's this girl and she's just an ordinary girl, and she's with her family on this island. And then she feels this need for her people, to save her people. And then she goes and is on this mission to figure out, I don't even know, honestly. I didn't really pay. She goes on a mission, and she starts that mission, and like fear starts to creep in, and she doesn't feel like she's equipped for the job, and now she's in the middle of it, and all these doubts are coming in, and trials are happening, but she continues just to go, and I won't spoil what happened, but it was good. And so I think that's us every day. Is that we get on this mission and we're like, I just can't do it. All these things are happening, and I'm not equipped for it, but don't quit. Just go.
That's beautiful. Jesus ends the story by asking the question, like, who was the one? Who was a neighbor? The answer is the one that showed mercy, and then the command is go and do the same.
Yeah.
That's what we want to leave you with tonight. Go and do the same. Stay ready. Notice and have compassion. And lastly, take action. Do something. The scripture says that faith without a work is dead. It's a dead faith. So have the faith, have the compassion, have the belief, and then put that with a response, with an action. Watch what God will do with that. And we want you to find that one person who's in need.
Yeah.
They're in your sphere of influence right now. And right now in this moment and throughout the rest of our time together tonight, just being able to commit to being challenged by that call, taking ownership of the responsibility that God's called me to this. It's on me to do. And let's have some faith and take some action to go and do the same.
That's right.
Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We love you. Kate, thank you. We'll see you next time.